thank you for tuning in for another week with On the Q Tip, where we're keeping you in the know. I'm your host, Miss Quinn. Today, our first guest, we have Reverend Albert E. Love. He is the CEO and founder of VEC, which is VEC, Voter Empowerment Collaborative. And with him, he brought his newly inducted executive director, Joe Karn. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us this evening.
Thank you so much for having us. Glad to be here.
All right. So, gentlemen, Reverend Love, I'm going to start with you. If you could tell us, as the CEO and founder of VEC, what exactly is VEC and how did it originate?
The Voter Empowerment Collaborative. The Voter Empowerment Collaborative, we are a nonprofit. We are a nonpartisan. That means that we do not endorse candidates and we do not promote political parties. But what we do is register people to vote. We educate them on the issues, and we encourage them to go to the polls and vote. So we are, it's good to know what business you in. We're in the voter empowerment business.
All right.
What do you mean voter empowerment? We believe that voters are empowered in three ways. We call it the 3 INs. The first way that citizens are empowered is information. The second way is inspiration. And the third way is involvement. And we believe that when citizens are informed, when they are inspired, and when they are involved, then they are equipped to make the intelligent decisions when they go to the polls and vote. So we are enthused about it. We're in our third year, and that we have the song in Jacob's Ladder said every round goes higher and higher. And I am so delighted to introduce to some and present to others Mr. Joe Karn, who will be the executive director. And as the founding president, I'm not going to get off the highway on the exit, but I'm just going to move from the left lane on over to the right lane. And that Joe Karn will be coming aboard, and he will be the engine that's driving the train. And we are so delighted to have him, young man whom I've known for several years, and he is going to take VEC, the Voter Empowerment Collaborative, to the next level.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. But I wanted to ask you before we get to Mr. Karn, Reverend Love, what was the inspiration behind creating VEC?
The inspiration was that we need citizens to be engaged in the political process, and that we wanted to have an organization that spoke to voter empowerment, because there are so many areas. Government is a very complex entity, and there are a lot of layers, and that we want to have a way to inform and citizens of how the political process work. I always have what I call, I have my little pen here, what I call the pen, how it works. This is a pen, and the designer of this pen had specific things in mind when they designed it. Now, if you don't know how to operate this pen, you could get upset, you could get mad and throw it on the ground, curse it, or do whatever you think you might want to do. But when you understand how the pen works, then you will be able to write. And the same thing is true in the government. That one of the things that VEC is trying to do is to help to educate the public in terms of how our government works, the various layers and entities. And as people become more informed and inspired and involved, then we could go about making change. And the last thing on that is that I am excited about social change. And voting is a non-violent way of making decisions. When we say voting, voting is just a way of making decisions. And that in our political process, that voting is a non-violent way of coming to decisions. The antithesis of that is that you would use violence and the biggest and whoever has the biggest muscles, or kind of like the Samson and Goliath kind of thing, that they wanted to decide who's going to be the king, by whoever could beat the other person. And that's not the best way to make decisions. We believe that the best way to achieve social change is through voting, and because voting is a non-violent way of doing that. So we're encouraged about it, and we're ready to go.
All right, Reverend Love, thank you so much for that interpretation. I appreciate that. So what we're going to do is move on to Mr. Karn here. Mr. Karn, as I stated earlier, as the newly inducted Executive Director of VEC, what are some of your goals or plans for the organization?
Well, we are looking forward to a wonderful year. 2018 is a rebuilding year for VEC. We will be building up for the 2019 elections, which are going to be the majority of the local elections going on in terms of municipalities throughout Metro Atlanta and the 5-county area. 2018 is a very important year as well. You have statewide offices preparing for elections, primaries, and a general election in November. What VEC will be doing there is gearing up, strengthening the organization, increasing membership, fundraising, and the like. So we're excited about reorganizing and invigorating and bringing new people into VEC and into the voter education business as well.
All right, fantastic. I'm really excited about it. So with VEC, are there any programs or activities that fall under that VEC umbrella?
Absolutely. Some of our programs include Candidates College, and this is something that Reverend Love has put together and has been running for many, many years. This is an opportunity for people that may be interested in running for office. It's a college, I guess, in a sense. It's a course, a crash course on running for office, what the requirements are, and whether or not you're the person to run for office. A lot of times after a candidates college course, some potential candidates may find that they are not the people to run for office. Some may find that they are. Reverend Love has graduated many graduates from the candidates college over the years that have gone on to represent our state, county, city, municipal governments, school boards, and the like. So this man here to my left has been the reason for quite a few people getting elected into office, which is a great thing. He is a hard worker and known as Mr. Vote throughout Georgia and the nation, actually.
Yes, he is. Okay, so you talked about the Candidates College. Are there any other programs under the VEC umbrella?
Yes, absolutely. We feature educational field trips that we will take folks out to learn the history of voting in America. Part of voting obviously includes part of the civil rights movement and the civil rights struggle. Reverend Love was a part of that struggle. I stand on the shoulders of him. He stands on the shoulders of Dr. King and Dr. Lowry and those pioneers that made voting possible and a functional government for everybody possible. So we take trips. We have a trip coming up on March 4th to Selma, Alabama. Obviously, very historic to the Edmund Pettus Bridge, but we do trips. We do educational seminars, and we do things with our Future Voters of America section, which is for the youth, to get them into voting before they're age eligible to vote.
Okay, so you talked about VEC. This Future Voters of America, I want you to expound on that a little bit because we have a lot of young viewers, and just talk a little bit about Future Voters of America, how somebody can be a part of Future Voters of America and what the requirements are to do that.
Well, Future Voters of America, if you're a young person, this is for you. This will show you why voting is an everyday part of your life, even right now. You may not be old enough to vote, but Future Voters of America teaches our young people about the democratic process, about how things work, about how decisions are made. We also have a lot of fun. We have field trips scheduled for our young people. We do voter education parties for our young people, and their input into that group is eminent and prominent over our input into that group. We want to hear from our young people we implement our programs based on what our young people would like to do, and we teach them and guide them so that they become an educated voter and thereby a more educated young adult.
Okay, so I think Reverend Love wants to comment on that. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, in addition to what Brother Khan just mentioned, one of the reasons that we started the Future Voters of America was because the 18 to 24 age group now, the voting record leaves much to be desired. It's somewhere under 10% actually go to the polls and vote. And so we said that, well, what can we do? How can we start early?
Right.
And we started from age 5 to 18. How can we start early? I don't want to say indoctrinating, but educating them such that by the time they get a 5-year-old, by the time he or her get to be 18, they will be so ready to vote, and so it will be sort of like a rite of passage, so to speak, so that they will automatically want to register and vote when they become 18. So that means that the voter turnout among that demographic will automatically go through the roof, because they won't be able to wait until they become 18 so they can register to vote. We have a little chant we say to them is that, what are you going to do when you become 18? And they say, register and vote. So we want to start early and helping them to understand how important it is, so that we're going to raise up a nation, raise up a group of young people who 20 years from now, the 18 to 24 demographic will be off the roof.
All right. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with more from Reverend Albert E. Love and Joe Karn, who, by the way, is the former city councilman with the city of College Park. So we're definitely glad to have him here. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Q-Tip with Miss Quinn, where she'll be keeping you in the know. Tune in every Thursday at 5 p.m. Watch us on waen-tv.com or Facebook Live /Studio 21 Media. To be a guest on the show, a member of the live studio audience, promote your product or services, contact Quintasha at 404-454-9347. On the Q-Tip with Miss Quinn, where she'll be keeping you in the know. Tune in every Thursday at 5 p.m. Watch us on waen-tv.com or Facebook Live /Studio 21 Media. To be a guest on the show, a member of the live studio audience, promote your product or services, contact Quintasha at 404-454-9347.
Thank you for staying tuned in. We are back. Thank you for staying tuned in. So we're still here with Reverend Albert E. Love and Joe Karn. And we talked a little bit about VEC, which is Voter Empowerment Collaborative, and Future Voters of America, which I'm really, really excited about. With Future Voters of America, for someone that's under the age of 18, what are some things that young people can do to help get their parents excited about voting? What are some things that you can suggest?
Well, one thing young people can do is to remind their parents of the elections. Obviously, our young people keep up with a lot of things with their mobile devices, with their smartphones, and they're always on the internet. And a lot of the times they know about an upcoming election sometimes before their parents do.
That's true.
So reminding their parents to never miss an election. Whether you like politics or not, voting, and one of the most important reasons to vote is that you're already paying for it. If that adult collects a paycheck of any kind, those taxes come out of that paycheck, usually before you even see that paycheck, and they go to elected officials that decide how that money is spent. So you might as well put your 2 cents in and decide how your money is spent. I tell people over and over again, you don't have to like politics ever, but you're going to keep paying for it. So you might as well get involved and make a decision and where your money goes.
Okay, very good answer. Very good answer. So, Mr. Karn, what outcome are you expecting to get from the existence of an organization like VEC?
Ultimately, we want to increase the registered voters. We want to have tens of thousands of young people voting that have never voted before. VEC is a vehicle to encourage people to vote and to get them to understand and realize how important their vote is and how important it is for them to vote. A lot of things with younger people, it's hard to sell something to a younger person unless you're marketing. It's hard to sell anything to anyone without marketing.
Right.
One thing that we don't do in the voter registration business, there's zero marketing that goes on generally with voter registration. If you want to sell something to someone, you have to market it to that particular audience and to that particular genre in order to speak to them where it resonates to them. So one of the things we're going to be doing is reaching our marketing tiers. There's a marketing tier for 50-year-olds and over. There's a marketing tier for 20-something-year-olds. There's a marketing tier for teens and for 30-year-olds. We're going to find those marketing cues and find those tiers, reach those folks with a marketing plan that resonates to them as to why they need to vote and why it's important to 20-year-olds.
Fantastic. You talked earlier a little bit about some events. I think you mentioned a trip to Selma in commemoration of the march on the Edmund Pettus Bridge. Are there any other events that you all have planned throughout the year that our viewers may be interested in participating in?
Well, we will have several events upcoming. We like to bite our elephant, I guess, one bite at a time, so to speak. The trip to Selma, Alabama is coming up on March the 4th. It's to the Edmund Pettus Bridge. Selma, as you know, is I guess the black folks' Mecca, so to speak. That was the turning point in the civil rights movement where we won the right to vote. You could say that we won the right to vote on that very bridge. There's a tremendous amount of history in Selma, Alabama that most of our young people are not aware of and do not know about. So this trip is educational as well as enjoyable. It gets them out of the city in a safe, friendly environment. The tickets for the trip are $50 before February 16th. So we encourage parents that want to take a trip with their children, educational, very enriching for young people as well as their parents. Our seats are $50. If you want to sponsor a child, the seats are $50 as well. You can go on our website, which is vecvoter.org. That's vecvoter.org and register online for the trip. We accept PayPal, we accept checks. So we're looking forward to a big turnout for our trip. And that is one of the most exciting events that we have coming up this quarter. Throughout the summer and fall, we will have several other events and festivities for our young people.
Okay, fantastic. Reverend Love?
Yeah. On Wednesday, February the 7th, we have Economic Justice Day at the Capitol. Also, we will be inviting the VEC family, the parents and the young people to come to the Capitol, and there will be a time where we want to introduce them to the way that it works at the legislature, and to also have them to interact with some of the state representatives and state senators. So on Wednesday, February the 7th, will be VEC Day at the Capitol, where we are exposing our young people to that. Also, on February the 24th, at 1:00 p.m. at Temple of Prayer, United Church of God in Christ Churches in Fairburn, we'll have the showing of the film Selma, Lord Selma. And that will be a chance for, before we go to Selma, for our young people to kind of be get a fair picture of what it's all about and some of the key people there. So these are two events that will be coming up that we'll be letting everybody know. And as Brother Karn said, you can go to our website, VEC Voter, V as in victory, E as in Edward, C as in Charles, Voter, VOTER.org, VECvoter.org, and you can see these activities that will be coming up.
Okay, so with these activities that are going to be taking place for the young people, how do you typically, besides being here on this show, how do you typically get the children to participate in your program, and about how many young people do you have currently?
Well, Future Voters of America and VEC, it's primarily through the parents. It's a parent-sponsored organization.
Mm-hmm.
A child cannot just sign up and join our organization and start doing things with the VEC organization. Right. It takes parents. So we depend on our parents to bring the children into the fold, to educate the children along with VEC in terms of what we're doing. So it's a family affair, and we invite our families to come out, learn the process, and to never miss an election.
All right. So for our viewers that are watching right now, a couple of things that I want to sort of expound on. Just know that VEC is not only for African Americans. It's for anybody that's interested in the political process and learning about the voting process. Also, VEC does not support any one political party, which is a great thing. And also, it's important for parents, like he said, to definitely be involved. I have to say personally, my children are part of the Future Voters of America, and I love this program. I love the organization. We have attended the Selma trip several times, and we will be attending on March 4th. And for those of you watching that may be interested in sponsoring, definitely check out the website so that you can help send a child somewhere to experience something that they probably wouldn't experience otherwise. So is there a phone number or anything for those people other than the website? Because everybody's not, tech savvy. So is there a phone number for somebody that may be interested that they can call?
Absolutely. You can contact me, Joe Karn, Executive Director for VEC, at 404-472-4599. Again, that's 404-472-4599. We're looking for community sponsors. We're looking for parents that want to educate their children and parents that want to learn some of the history as well.
So with the trip to Selma, can you give us just a little bit of that itinerary before we go?
Well, just a bit of it. We'll be leaving early in the morning from the West End Mall in Atlanta. It's a one-day trip. We will be returning later that evening. The trip also includes, there's a lunch provided for a nominal fee. It's a very exciting trip. You see historic places, historic churches where history happened. We will be following in the footsteps of Dr. King, in the footsteps of Hosea Williams, in the footsteps of Congressman John Lewis, to the places and scenes and where they visited and places that they fought so that all Americans have the right to vote.
All right. Well, thank you, gentlemen, so much for joining us today. Again, we have Reverend Albert E. Love and Joe Karn with VEC Voter Empowerment Collaborative. And definitely check out vecvoter.org and see about signing your children up and being an active, involved parent. Thank you, gentlemen, so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having us.
And we'll be right back in a few moments after this quick break.
On the Q-Tip with Ms. Quinn, where she'll be keeping you in the know. Tune in every Thursday at 5 p.m. Watch us on waen-tv.com or Facebook Live /Studio 21 Media. To be a guest on the show, a member of the live studio audience, promote your product or services, contact Quintasha at 404-454-9347. On the Q-Tip with Ms. Quinn, where she'll be keeping you in the know. Tune in every Thursday at 5 p.m. Watch us on waen-tv.com or Facebook Live / Studio 21 Media. To be a guest on the show, a member of the live studio audience, promote your product or services, contact Quintasha at 404-454-9347. On the Q-Tip with Ms. Quinn, where she'll be keeping you in the know. Tune in every Thursday at 5 p.m. Watch us on waen-tv.com or Facebook Live / Studio 21 Media. To be a guest on the show, a member of the live studio audience, promote your product or services, contact Quintasha at 404-454-9347.
Welcome back to the second half of On the Q-Tip, where we're still keeping you in the know. With me now, we have Mr. Gregory Harris and Mr. Ron Herring, and they're both state coordinators with the Furthering Fathering Corporation. Let me say that again, the Furthering Fathering Corporation. And I'm going to introduce Mr. Gregory Harris first and let him give us a little bit of his background, and then I'm going to have him to introduce Mr. Herring. So, Mr. Harris, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Ms. Q. My name is Gregory Harris, State Coordinator, Furthering Fathering Corporation. Me and Mr. Herring, we happen to oversee the Georgia operations of Furthering Fathering Corporation. My name is Gregory Harris, Georgia Coordinator, Furthering Fathering Corporation. Ron Herring and I, we oversee the operations of Furthering Fathering Corporation, in which we have several programs that we serve dads throughout Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay, so Mr. Harris, tell us a little bit about how you became affiliated with the Furthering Fathering Corporation.
I became affiliated with Furthering Fathering Corporation over 3.5 years ago. Co-founder Lamont Jones, him and I, we had a conversation. He was living in New York at the time, and he said he was going to move to Georgia, and I told him I would help him get started. Later on, finding out this was my calling to be able to assist Lamont Jones in this endeavor in Furthering Fathering.
Okay. Mr. Herring, can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you became involved with the organization?
Yes. It's ironic because Mr. Harris and I, we got to know each other some years ago, and it was ironic. Every time I would come to the train station, he would always walk up to me and talk to me about joining him with his program. And I was always look at him, we'll see about it. You know, I'll pray about it. And eventually one day when he came and met me, he said, what are you praying about? What do you think? And I said, I'm ready. What do you want to do? I said, tell me what you got, what you're doing, and let me put my hand to it. And I did, and it has been an awesome ride ever since.
All right, great. So, gentlemen, how long has the Furthering Fathering Corporation been around?
Furthering Fathering Corporation been around over 4 years now. The co-founders originated this is Jeremy Maynard and Lamont Jones, and this originally started Roosevelt, Long Island, and now it's expanded to Roosevelt, Long Island, Brooklyn, and Queens.
So as state coordinators, what exactly does that entail? What exactly do, you gentlemen do?
We oversee all the programs that's taking place throughout Atlanta, Georgia. For example, we have the Core Values Heart Curriculum, which is the acronym, the HEART. That means honor, encouragement, accountability, and reconciliation. Another program we had Dad's Life Plan, and we also have the fatherhood forums. We have the open and closed forums. The open would be like in a public place that we have a group discussion, like inside a restaurant or a barber shop, or we have a closed discussion inside the classrooms.
Okay, so this program, Furthering Fathering, the name of the organization, what was the concept behind Furthering Fathering?
The concept of Furthering Fathering, we want to elevate the level of fatherhood. We just asking fathers to be more active in their children's lives.
Okay. So you mentioned a few of the programs. I was on your website a few days ago, and I noticed something called the 7 M's, and I can't remember all of them. So I won't ask you to recite all of them, but it was really, really interesting with the information that I saw. I think one was motivating and something like that, but some positive M words that were on the website. How do you guys go about recruiting the fathers, or where do you get these fathers from? Do you just approach everybody at the train station, Mr. Harris?
Not everybody. Not everybody. Those who appear interest in what we're doing.
Okay. Go ahead.
I mean, it's like anything that you're recruiting, you talk to people.
Okay.
When you talk to people, you find out the things that are important to them. You look at different circumstances. When you're having a general conversation with another man, you're going to ask him common things. Is he a dad? Or, what are you into? And those things will lead you into understanding who you're talking to. And you get that moment where you feel like you can say something to him concerning what you're doing. And when they're interested, then you invite them to come to our training or to come and see what we do. And in doing that, you will find that a lot of men are looking for what you're doing.
Wow, fantastic. And I'm sure there are a lot of fathers out here that want to be actively involved in their children's lives, and for whatever reason, they're not able to right now. So it's great to have an organization like this around to help them get things going. Also, when I was on your website, I noticed some stats, some statistics. Can you guys expound a little bit on some of those statistics and tell us about them?
Well, no, statistically, they basically accurate. They basically accurate that more homes don't have fathers present in there. Let's just say maybe relationships that haven't worked out, whatever have you. But I believe there's more fathers involved in the children's lives than those actually numbers, but even though they may not be at the home.
Okay. Go ahead.
A lot of the statistics that we see on there are based on data from the Census Bureau, some of from the crime research. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them talk about the different relationships between the negative things and why they take place concerning fathers not being in the home. Some of them are pretty broad as far as accuracy. You can say they've been there for some years. A lot of things have changed, but they do show the impact of not having a father in the home and what it can produce and what happens and the difference when a man is involved in a young man's life and when he's not.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about I think it's called either Father College or Parent College or something like that, a program, the Fatherhood Institute. Yeah, thank you. Tell us a little bit about that.
The Fatherhood Institute is basically a free fatherhood classes in which we presently teaching the HEART curriculum. which is the core values, as mentioned before. H is for honor, E for encouragement, A for accountability, and A for accountability. You have R for reconciliation and T for training.
Okay.
And we believe if those 5 core values happen to be practiced, we could be successful dads.
Okay. And I see you have a book here. What can you tell us what is inside this little workbook that you have here? I see it says 5 Core Principles Workbook. Tell us about what's inside that workbook.
Basically, this book here, Getting to the Hearts of the Fathers, you can see it. It is the 5 Core Principles Workbook that we use, and it was written by the co-CEOs, Lamont Jones and Jeremy A. Maynard. And this book is what we use to teach from. And it contains all the things that would relate to the heart course. Basically, what we're doing is we're facilitating and presenting a place where men can come and talk about themselves and who they are and the challenges they have as being fathers, whether they're in the home or they're not in the home. And what we're doing is we're getting them to each of those different 5 points to understand what makes them a better father and the challenges they've had that have made them either believe or have put them in a place where they couldn't be the best that they could be. Okay. And when we take them through this 5-week session, they get to know who they are. Okay. And I think the most powerful part is when we get into the inner workings of where it says encouragement and accountability. Because one of the things with being accountable and encouragement is responsibility. Right. And once you've done that, now you can understand why reconciliation means so much. Yes. Because without reconciliation, you cannot come to the core of understanding why the problem exists. Okay. So once you've done that, pretty much you have won them over. And by that point, they're beginning to see the difference in their lives. And their children see it. And if they are married, their wives see it. And even if not married, the mother sees it. And they see the difference in their life as men. They grow.
Okay. Fantastic explanation. So when we talk about these fathers, are there any particular ages of the fathers? If the father is, say, a minor, can they sign themselves up for this program, or is it something that their parents would have to do?
As long as they are fathers, period. The age doesn't matter.
Okay, fantastic, fantastic. Let me ask you each individually. Mr. Harris, why are you so passionate about this program?
I'm passionate for this program because I grew up never knew my father. My father died, unfortunately. He died of murder when I was 3 years old, and I've been raised most of my life by my grandmother. And what happened is that during my journey, I never really had a mentor. I just happened to have men in my life in each stage. For example, I had a softball coach I played with for 3 years. He had 4 sons, and I would call him a man's man. Mm-hmm. You know, he taught me things in life and different coaches as I went along. Right. So that's why I'm passionate, so far as that, because at 18, the first time I really mentored 4 young men for about 5 years. And I knew it meant for these young men to be where they are successfully at this point by the reason I made time for them.
Okay, fantastic. Mr. Herring, what about you? Where does your passion come from for this organization?
Straight from the heart.
Okay.
Basically for me, dealing with men is something that has been profound with me for all my life. I've been a basketball coach. I've been a youth pastor. Everything I've ever done has been to center around helping young men and older men to become better. I grew up without my dad as well. I never knew him, period. And seeing that and seeing the need for having a father around, I had great mothers, aunts, everybody, they were wonderful, but nobody can take the place of that dad. Right. And having coaches and others to lead me, it helped. But when I became a dad, because I knew what it was like to not have one, it gave me a passion to want to make sure my children would never have to worry about who their dad was. And in doing that, I've been placed in positions to always be able to effectively make a difference in young men's lives, and I love it.
Okay, fantastic. Great answers. My next question for you all is, with this organization, I think you said it's been around for about 4 years, right?
Yes.
So what are you hoping to be the outcome, or what are you guys hoping to gain as a result of this organization being in existence?
Well, our hope and our vision happen to be a worldwide vision. Not only we want further fathering just in this state in New York, but all other states who desire to have further fathering in this state, so that we're able to effectively serve dads and ultimately make an impact in the communities and the families and the lives we serve through these dads.
Okay. Do you want to expound?
Currently, I'm not going to say which states, but we are actively right now pursuing several other states as well to put chapters in, and internationally as well. We have some other countries that we're actually participating in to bring this program, and it is a worldwide program. We're looking to make a difference when we're elevating fatherhood and we're empowering families to make a difference in our communities.
Okay, fantastic. Do you guys have any projects or events coming up for your fathers that are involved in the programs?
Well, every Tuesday we have the Fatherhood Institute. It starts at 6 p.m. Over at Providence, a Missionary Baptist Church over at Cascade Road and Benjamin E. May, if I'm correct, Benjamin E. May.
Okay.
Mays. This particular Saturday, we're going to be at the IBEW building over downtown Atlanta. They have an expungement event coming up.
That's right.
We're going to participate in that event. Also participate in the event. But the biggest event that we have all year will be the Fatherhood Expo. That'll be at Greenbrier Mall. That'll be the day before Father's Day.
Okay, fantastic. So, Mr. Herring, I'm looking at this hoodie you're wearing over here. If you move those strings out the way, this hoodie says, "Real Dads Read." And I like that. So can you guys tell us a little bit about Real Dads Read, what program that is, what it is that you guys do with that?
Real Dads Read is a program that was put together by the executive director of Fathers Incorporated, Mr. Kenneth Roswell, our brother and an awesome man. And this program is a literacy program that we have libraries that we have built, and we put them in barbershops all around the Atlanta area. In every county, we have barbershops. Right now, tentatively, we have 61 barbershops in place. 61. And the libraries are age and culture appropriate.
Okay.
And the idea is for our youth, when they come into the barbershop, instead of looking at the TV and watching the sports or doing other things, they can sit down with their dad and read a book and have quality time together. And it helps to create a bond with them that you cannot, and not only that, they can take the books and take them home because we replenish them every month.
All right. Fantastic. So for any of you barbers out there watching and you want to have a library added to your facility, to your barbershop, you need to hit us up. How can they get in touch with you all if they're interested?
They can call Fathers Incorporated at 770-804-9800.
And is there any type of website?
And the website is realdadsread.org.
All right. So we're going to take a quick break and we're going to be back in a few minutes. Thank you for tuning in.
On the Q-Tip with Miss Quinn, where she'll be keeping you in the know. Tune in every Thursday at 5 p.m. Watch us on waen-tv.com or Facebook Live /Studio 21 Media. To be a guest on the show, a member of the live studio audience, promote your product or services, contact Quintasha at 404-454-9347. On the Q-Tip with Miss Quinn, where she'll be keeping you in the know. Tune in every Thursday at 5 p.m. Watch us on waen-tv.com or Facebook Live /Studio 21 Media. To be a guest on the show, a member of the live studio audience, promote your product or services, contact Quintasha at 404-454-9347.
All right, we're back. And during the break, Mr. Herring was mentioning something to me about a pilot program that they are implementing in Rockdale County. Mr. Herring, tell us a little bit about that program.
We have the HEART curriculum program that we're doing a pilot in Rockdale County correctional facility for the men, to help the men that are in prison to have a better relationship with their children while they're there and when they get out. And it's something that we're looking to do in the other correctional areas in Atlanta as well, because we understand the importance is while these fathers are away, their children are suffering.
Right.
And people don't understand what goes on in the child's mind when their father's not there, where they can put their hands on them. And what they're dealing with, their emotions are just as strong as the father's. And that has an impact on the fathers when they're in prison, knowing they can't reach their children. But when they know that they're better equipped to do the job, that when they come out, it makes that ability to transcend so much better. So we know the importance of it. We're looking to implement that and make it happen as soon as possible.
So I'm going to go out on a limb and say I'm assuming all of the programs and services that you all offer are free to these gentlemen, or are there any costs incurred or anything that they have to pay for any of these services?
Basically, the HEART program, it is free. It's everything we do for you is free. We do have other resources that we provide through Furthering Fathering, collaborators that we have with other partners to help you to do the things you need. Like, for instance, the Expunge It program, helping you with child advocacy, child support. We have people that work with us to help to do that, because we don't want you to just come in and we give you this training and then we can't help you to find a place to lay your head. We can't help you to get a job to provide for yourself. So we have these programs as an extension that we do. And any of the costs of that may come from the people who are the partners, but not from us ourselves.
Okay. So the men that come into the program, they're not coming out of their pockets for anything?
No, not from anything from Furthering Fathering.
Okay, that's fantastic, fantastic. Well, gentlemen, I want to thank you so very much for joining us this evening. I've really enjoyed the information that you've given. And could you please give that website and phone number one more time for our viewers that are watching in case they're interested in checking out the website or giving you guys a call, maybe in support of the organization?
Yes, definitely. Our website is furtheringfathering.org. And you can contact us at 888-380-3370, and my extension is 6.
All right. There you have it, Mr. Herring and Mr. Harris. Thank you, gentlemen, so much for joining me, and we'll be right back in a few minutes.
Where she'll be keeping you in the know. Tune in every Thursday at 5 p.m. Watch us on waen-tv.com or Facebook Live /Studio 21 Media. To be a guest on the show, a member of the live studio audience, promote your product or services, contact Quintasha at 404-454-9347. On the Q-Tip with Miss Quinn, where she'll be keeping you in the know. Tune in every Thursday at 5 p.m. Watch us on waen-tv.com or Facebook Live /Studio 21 Media. To be a guest on the show, a member of the live studio audience, promote your product or services, contact Quintasha at 404-454-9347.
All right. Thank you for staying tuned in. And now we have a very, very, very special treat for you all. This evening we have Mr. Gerald Middlebrooks. Mr. Middlebrooks is a retired MARTA employee. That's right. I said MARTA because it's smarter, as they say. Mr. Middlebrooks is a writer. He's a poet. He's a musician. He's a spoken word artist. He's an actor. But none of those top these last two. He's a father and a grandfather. So we want to welcome Mr. Middlebrooks here with us this evening. And he's going to give us just a little tidbit of one of his poems that he has done called The Dog and the Cat. And Mr. Middlebrooks, take it away.
All right. Thank you very much. I'm proud to be a part of this show. Very great host. Very great host. Nice audience. So the title of this poem is Dog and Cat Discussion, and it's a rendition of how I think animals think about mankind, and I use dog and cat as the proponents of this poem, and so I think it'll go over well. You know, a couple of days ago, I was out walking, and as I rounded the corner, I heard this dog and cat talking. Now, you know how the cat is always so cool. I overheard her say, "Fido, you know man is a fool." Now, God created him over me and you, but there's not anything that man won't do. You're absolutely right, said Fido, wagging his tail. You know, I think man eventually is going to end up in hell. You know, it truly is hard being his best friend. You know, he's not even loyal to his next of kin. You know, I don't understand the minds of men, even though they were born into sin, but then so was I as well as you, but the dumb actions of men, we never do. You're right, said the cat, I do agree. And they had the nerve to discuss you and me. Fighting like cats and dogs, making accusations like that. I can't ever remember when a dog fought a cat. Well, you know, neither can I, said Fido the dog. I can't remember a time at all. As a matter of fact, said the dog to the cat, we have better things to do than that. With my infinite hearing, especially at dark, I notify my master with an alarming bark, you know, in case something's happening he can't hear or see, because he's either on the phone or he's watching TV. Yes, said the cat, and I'm roaming the house, maintaining surveillance over that little gray mouse who's been nibbling on cheese and crackers, you know, and food like that. This signifies a need for me as a cat. Right again, said Fido the dog, and I'm always happy with the walk-off ball he throws to me. You know he think I can't catch, but I'm off and running, and right away I fetch. Yes, said Sam Cat as she lay in the sun, and playing with this ball of string is lots of fun. But you know, nothing ever really satisfies man. He complains and destroys as much as he can. And he never does anything really exciting. He's either stealing or killing or fussing and fighting. He pollutes the planet with factories and cars, and he digs holes in the ocean searching for oil. And to be truthfully honest, he already has what he needs, but he gropes and he grapples to fill his never-ending greed. Then they both turn to me, shaking their heads. So we certainly do hope you heard what we said. And we're not the only one with thoughts like these. The birds and the bees, the creatures in the seas, the denizens of the forest, and all other species. And that flock of geese that you see in migration, they're the watchful eyes of God's creation. You know, you appear amazed as if you don't understand. Well, we are totally confused with the actions of man. We're sorry you had to hear it from a dog and a cat, but we're depending on you to run and tell that. So go ahead, tell all your friends you talk to every day. Tell them exactly what we had to say. And with those last words, I started to depart. Folks, believe me when I tell you, it lay heavy on my heart. You know, I was really impressed with that dog and that cat. Never had I heard a discussion like that. But the message was clear, and in sharing with you, I'm doing exactly what they requested me to. But now the moral of the story should be obvious to you, that we as human beings have lots to do. And just you remember, as we continue to scream and shout, all the animals of the world are checking us out. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, yes.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thank you so very much, Mr. Middlebrooks. So those of you watching, this is Mr. Gerald Middlebrooks. Mr. Middlebrooks, if somebody is really loving what you just did and they wanted you to come and make an appearance at their daycare center or at their elementary school, how can they get in touch with you?
They can reach me at 404-761-0205, which is my landline, and my cell number is 404-3 396-8799, or they can get in touch with me with Gerald M at 227gmail.com.
Say that email address again.
Gerald M 227 at gmail.com.
That's right. Thank you so very much, Mr. Middlebrooks.
Well, you're very welcome. Now, I'm looking forward to lots of calls because I love to do this. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so very much for tuning in this week. Join us next Thursday when we have 2 other special guests for you. Thank you. And this is Miss Quinn signing off.